Mark, good to see you again. I'll just start with how you are bodies-wise and how you came through Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're pretty much okay, as we were really. Yeah, we're getting a few back. I think I mentioned that before the game. So in terms of numbers, we're good. Yeah, I've got a lot of options, of different things I can do. So yeah, that's what you want as a manager. So no, we're pleased obviously that the lads have been out for a long time, like I said, Chappie and Verdane are really getting to the point where they can be reintroduced. Chappie's obviously ahead of Verdane, but Chappie's really with the group now. Verdane's obviously getting dripped in, dripped out. So yeah, so we're in good shape. So numbers wise, we're fine. Didn't lose anybody after the game against Middlesbrough. So yeah, we're in good shape.
With Harry and Verdane, are you at a point now where you have definitive timescales on when they'll be?
Yeah, you're always wary of giving dates because I think sometimes players can get a little bit too excited, and if they don't actually make that date that's been mentioned, then sometimes they get disappointed, and that could be viewed as a setback. So we're not going to go hard and fast on return dates. We have a window where we think it's more probable that they'll come back, and obviously games are within that window, so they are targets as such, but we don't like to put a significant date because that's a little bit too much pressure that doesn't need to be applied. So we're pleased where they are. Significant injuries, both of them, and for the most part, touch wood, up to this point, they haven't had any setbacks, so that's a good thing.
And I suppose the nature of both of their injuries, you have to be mindful of how you gradually integrate. They're explosive injuries, and the way both the guys play, obviously Verdane's a big guy with good power, and so he needs to be sound, obviously to recreate that power. Chappie's more dynamic in terms of changes of direction and movement, so he's got to be sound in that regard. So we've progressed them well. There's been no real pressure from me to bring them back sooner rather than later, because that would be detrimental to them. We've allowed them to progress at the right rate, and that's why, touch wood, up to this point, as I said, they haven't had any setbacks, so I think that's the right way to go. As we touched on after the game on Tuesday night, it was a welcome return for Alex Pattison. And I think you suggested that he might be building up to a point where he could possibly start this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked really strong for a couple of weeks now, and obviously we're mindful. We don't like throwing. I've just mentioned that we like to progress them as well as we can. But he's been with the group, trained full on for, like I said, 2.5 weeks now. He's had, what did he have, 20 odd minutes in a high level game. So he's looked strong in that. So yeah, Pat will give him the way he plays and his history. More often than not, he's sound, so he hasn't got that legacy of things in the past that have set him back up to a point. But I think, yeah, if I felt he was the right option to play a bigger part, then yeah, I would have no qualms about it, because he's looked really strong. And as I said, he's trained pretty much full on for the last 2.5 weeks.
Does his availability give you a good headache selection
to
have now?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got headaches right across the board, in fairness. So yeah, but it's a good thing. And yeah, some guys will have to be patient. Some guys will obviously just have to bide their time. Same thing, really. But everybody knows the situation. Everybody sees the training group at the moment, and I've got plenty of options, plenty of ways I can go. So each and every one of them just has to understand that they have to train correctly every single day, as they always do, and just wait and be ready if called upon. And if you do that correctly and
you train correctly, then when you do get your chance, you got better opportunity to impress. If you haven't done your work and you're given an opportunity, then you're not ready, so you can't impress. So that's the message to everybody. Plenty of games coming up as well. We've got a hectic schedule, Tuesday, Saturday for a long time now. So there's no respite. So a lot of players are going to get opportunities. That goes without saying.
Just on Alex, obviously he's been used in a higher attacking midfield role so far. Is there any scope to use him deeper in the midfield, possibly moving forward?
Yeah, but we look at his talents and his strength. One of his strengths is those runs that he makes with and without the ball into the box. So we want to encourage that. Is it better for him to come from even deeper positions? Yeah, there's a case for that. Or you can put him higher so that he gets in the box even sooner. So it's just what I feel on the day will best serve us and best create that little bit of chaos in the opposition box that he's really good at. What we need is that he arrives at the key moments in games and gets on the end of things, which he's been able to do. So whether or not he comes from a deep position or a position further forward, I don't think it makes much difference to Pattison.
Just on Kevin McDonald, you said on Tuesday evening that it's likely for him now to be more of a Saturday schedule for him, but can he be built up to a point where he could?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it may be that. Yeah, it could be Saturday, Tuesday, and then he misses a Saturday, goes back to Tuesday, Saturday, or we get to a point, which I think we will very quickly, where he can play day in, day out, and have a real solid run at it. I think we all saw how influential he was against Newport, and we want him out there in as many games as we can, because he has that quality that was on show, obviously, against Newport. So if it means missing one game here and there, just to make sure that he maintains a good, consistent level, then that's what we'll do, because that will benefit us in the end.
On Bobby Pointon, obviously he's been missing for the last 2 games from minutes. You spoke previously about just having to manage his situation. Is that part of it?
Yeah, a little bit, but Bobby's done great, and we're really happy with him. He's been around the squad, obviously been on the bench as well. The last couple of games I've needed to have a look at certain things. Obviously Adam and had too many opportunities, so I wanted to see him on that right hand side, so that shaped my thinking the other night. Ray's come into the team as well on the opposite side, so certain things I've needed to look at and still looking at. I know what Bobby can do. We're very happy with how he's progressing, and he's a player we've got a lot of time for and a lot of hope for. So just going out, the team won't do him any harm. Being exposed to it and then having opportunities set back and think, oh, maybe in that situation I can do a little bit better, or I should have done this given the same situation. So it's about him developing that and developing his knowledge both within the game itself and from a step back. So it's all part of his education.
We've spoken to Clark today, and reflecting on Tuesday evening's game, he felt that whilst it was a defeat, there was real value in it for you as a side to look at championship opposition, see how they operate and how they go about things. Would you share that view? Yeah,
very much so. It was a good test. I mean, listen, I think we all saw on the night that they're in a false position in their own league. I mean, this group predominantly that Michael's got is the group that nearly went up to the Premier League last year. So we were up against a good quality team that maybe just hasn't quite hit their stride this season, a little bit like ourselves in that regard. So it was interesting the way they played. Obviously they're possession based, and they have certain rotations and movements, and I think it was more to do with the calmness in possession maybe, and their ability to offload at the right time. Decision making as well will always be a thing when you go up against higher level teams. So it give the lads an understanding and insight. A lot of the things we talk about they will have seen executed in a really good manner and a high level, so they can take benefit from that and learn from that. But on that night we stuck at it. It was difficult to really have that momentum because they played a little bit of hide the football at times, because obviously they scored early on and they were in a position to be able to do that. So I think if we'd have kept it to 0-0 a bit longer, then we could have caused them more problems. But once they got their nose in front, they were quite adept at just keeping their ball away and just trying to draw us on and pick us off from angle balls in behind us. So we still had chances. I think we had a great chance. Obviously, I think Platty's done really well to block Stubbsy's effort on goal. So at that point, if that had been the equaliser, then I think it would have shaped the game in a different manner. But those are the moments in the games that, when you're up against higher level teams, those are the ones you've got to take, and unfortunately we didn't. But good exercise from our point of view. Good team we were up against, and team that played clever, intelligent football with a lot of pace and a lot of quality. But we stuck at it and had our moments. So I think we can take credit for it, albeit it was a loss.
As you said on Tuesday, the league is the priority, and going into Saturday against Walsall, we've spoken a lot about the word momentum during your time at the football club. Do you feel that you're going into that game with momentum, given what happened on Saturday?
I think certainly the performance at Newport was excellent, and as I just said, performance against Borough was good, given the opposition we were up against. So yeah, I sense there's a feeling within the group that it's a chance now to really have a period where we're consistent in terms of getting maximum results. Opposition teams will have something to say about that and will try and stop us doing that. But I think the way we're shaping up, and maybe individuals in our team, how they're performing at the moment, and the effect they're having on opposition teams, it's helping us. I think we've got different ways to attack as well. I think clearly last weekend Cookie coming back was a major fillip for everybody. We'll go threats out wide as well, and obviously the likes of Pato being available again. Daniel, who did really well in his position in midfield, has given us another string to our bow in there. So we've got good options, good things that we can do either in the opening lineup or if I have to make change or feel like changes needed to be made further in the game. So good options and good quality options as well.
Just finally from me, I mean, just the way that things unfolded at Newport, the performance and players coming back now, key players coming back. Do you feel like you're at your most settled now of the season so far?
We're getting there. I think there's a little bit of continuity in terms of selection. Obviously we made a couple of changes midweek, but I think there's a continuity there that will always help a team. So we'll stick for the most part with the obvious selections, and then as the next few weeks unfold, like I've said already, that it's going to be a busy schedule, and I think what I've got, or what I have now, is the ability to, if I see a dip in performance levels, or somebody just looks like they're tiring and it might not quite be at their maximum, then I've got the potential to dip them out and give them a rest and bring good players in. So I've not always had that ability to do that, but that's where we find ourselves. So that's good.
That's not my thing.
Okay.
As you said, with the fixtures coming up thick and fast now, and the players being available, I mean, presumably the challenge as much as anything now is to almost whittle down your bench, isn't it? You've actually got that competition now for the 7 as much as the 11.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's better when there's, like in the Carabao Cup, when there's 9 subs. It makes my job easier. But but it's. I think the bench is different. I think I try to explain this to players when obviously they come in and want to understand why they're not even on the bench. And sometimes it's about trying to cover almost without fail. It's not sometimes, I've said before, you're trying to cover every eventuality, and that means sometimes a player that can play in 2 or 3 positions is a better option than a guy who's very adept at one position. So sometimes they miss out because you're just trying to cover every eventuality. So going from the team, out of the team, to the bench isn't always the natural step. It's just what I need on the day just to cover maybe some injury concerns or worries that guys won't finish games, then I have to cover for that. So the bench itself will ebb and flow, and different guys will be needed at different times.
Presumably, I mean, you've got players like Kevin McDonald who understand their body and won't sort of kick up a stink if they don't.
No, and I think that's important. It's an important point to make, is that you've got to have those honest conversations. I think sometimes the players will have conversations with the medical staff and the physios and say, "Oh, I'm not quite sure," and then the medical staff will say, "Well, go see the gaffer," and then I'll ask them the question, "Are you okay? Are you fit to play?" And they go, "Yeah." So, and they always say yes. Why wouldn't they? Because I was the same. But I think if you can have honest conversations, and that's what I have with a number of the guys, Kevin included, and if we feel it's the right game to drop out or the right game to come back into, then I can have them conversations. I think they're conversations you need to have.
Presumably those conversations are a little bit easier when the fixture list is at its heaviest, because it's not a case of 8 days of a week before the next game. Yeah.
No, I think everybody understands that this period we're coming into is going to test the strength of the squad, so they've got to be ready, as I said.
Talking about Harry Chapman, I mean, you know, injuries always happen at the worst time, but his injury last season just seemed to be at a point when he was
he was playing really well,
heading towards the climax of the season.
Yeah, it was a real shame that he missed out, and who knows what significance or difference he might have made if he'd been available. We'll never know now, obviously, but to see him back in training is great. He's got a certain manner and the way he plays and the way he is about the place. It's good to have him fully engaged and looking forward to coming back. It's been a long route for him. It wasn't an easy injury. Obviously he had similar injury, not on the same side, but so he was aware it was going to be a significant period out, but he's kept his personality, kept his positive outlook on everything, and that's why he's in a good place now.
You must see a difference in him, because it must be very hard for him personally, having to sort of sit there while the team's
I'm sure it was. Season. Yeah, when you know if you were available, you could make an impact, and you're not in a position to help, then that was difficult for him and for us as a group. But we're delighted that he's getting somewhere close to where he'll be available again, and he's a good player. We've all seen the quality that he's got, so adding good players to the group is always a welcome thing.
And you can tell sort of way he's out there and in training that he's confident in his body.
I don't see anything really. Sometimes players will refrain from doing certain things just because they're just protecting themselves, or they're not quite sure of how well they feel. But given conversations I've had with Chappie and conversations he's had, he feels that's like, given he's had the operation, it will now be stronger than it was before the injury itself. So I think he's gained confidence from that fact, and the way he feels himself as well, obviously. So he's free just to go. We just need to get him up to speed, which means a good period, good body of work, game time somewhere, not quite sure where. We might be able to do bounce games. Difficult when we got Saturday, Tuesday, unfortunately, but pretty close, so we're pleased.